The price of beef may have come up, but there's always a solution and always a plan B put in place. Good evening and welcome to Give Me a Break. I'm Jonathan Carmody. Beef has gone up, and that could mean you won't be able to get some good steaks, some good ribs. But have you ever thought about a solution to get a good meal? How about Hamburger Helper? I love Hamburger Helper. Maybe a little Hamburger Helper. 1 pound, 1 friend, 1 happy family. You can do without cheese or with cheese, but it's one of the biggest things ever. And as Les Trent shows us, you might be hungry to save money.
It was a dinner-time staple from the 1970s. Hamburger Helper was a budget-friendly way to feed the entire family.
Hamburger Helper, Hamburger Helper, big, great meal.
Now, with the price of beef at an all-time high, families are reaching for Hamburger Helper to help stretch their dollars. Hamburger Helper was first introduced in 1971, and in the decades that have passed, it has been seen as a forgotten food from a bygone time. Well, times have changed. Hamburger Helper is now, back in favor. Sales have soared nearly 15% in the past year, as the price of ground beef has gone up 11%.
We have the highest price of ground beef ever. It's up to $6.31 a pound. Steaks, for example, are up to about $14 a pound. So what people are looking to do is they're looking to stretch their budget and, frankly, to stretch the meat.
Chef Jeffrey Eisner is showing me some inexpensive ways to make Hamburger Helper healthier.
You want to put that spinach in right now, it's going to wilt right away. Put some frozen veggies in there if you want. It's already pre-cut for you, save some time.
If you want some extra flavor, add salsa.
Oh, look at that.
A great way to make the beloved Hamburger Helper new again.
This is good.
It can be good, but unless you try to save some money, maybe then you won't be able to find some love. That's what these 4 women are doing. These women are trying to prove it's never too late to find some love. Even though Valentine's Day may not be months away, you can still find some love. Take a look.
These real-life Golden Bachelorettes are ready for their second act. 67-year-old registered nurse Brenda Mandanat is a mom of 3, and she's seeking a life partner.
I believe my soulmate's out there, and I'm anxiously waiting for him. I would love to have many, many happy years of making memories together. Come find me.
53-year-old Yvonne Husband is a defense contractor mom of 2.
I think it's really challenging at this age because I feel like there's a stigma that you've never been married, because I haven't. So, people want to know what's wrong with you.
Dating strategist Kimmy Seltzer says many just need a boost to get back out there.
It really is about the transformation. So these women are coming in not feeling very sexy, not very confident. Maybe they were once, but they're not now.
Kimmy is hosting a dating retreat, and Inside Edition was there as these women got their mojo back.
How many of you got out of your head today? Can I see? Oh my God!
The ladies are treated to a glamorous makeover,
Make my eyes pop if you can.
a photo shoot,
Oh, that's fantastic.
even a dance lesson to up their game. And here come the bachelors, showing at any age it's never too late to fall in love.
Cheers to finding love.
You might find some love in your neighborhood, but love potions might not be able to find a solution. We're going to have that for you coming up on the future broadcast. Now, a thing that people have to understand is, there is a lot of people that want to find some love, but like I said before, we're going to talk about this on future broadcasts about love potions. But it's not Valentine's Day, but there are ways to find a date. I mean, you can take advice by watching some 2.5 Men, and all of a sudden, you know, you may be a bachelorette like Uncle Charlie. But if that were to happen, you know, the advice you would take from the show, it wouldn't happen in real life. I mean, like in the old days, you would go to the bar, get a drink, pick up a girl, and then all of a sudden, you'd be the designated, and all of a sudden, you wouldn't drink, you'd be the designated driver after like 1 or 2 drinks. Then all of a sudden, you know, you go back to your beach house, you play your guitar, and then all of a sudden, you know, you go in your room, you have sex, and then it all goes down to the mumbo jumbo. So, if you're looking for love, those 3 ladies might be the key to you finding a good date. And if you want to find some good dating tips, look them up online or use AI. They may help you find ways to get that perfect girl. And even then, you might have a great life in heaven. You and the girl. All this week, we're catching up with Project Baltimore as we look into more scandals that are happening in Baltimore County and the state of Maryland. Next, more of those scandals, and even some ones we've not shown you. Stay with us. All this week, we're catching up with Project Baltimore. We're looking at some stories we're looking at some stories we've not talked about because we were on summer break. With this question in mind, when it comes to student academics, is it really successful? Well, the answer is yes and no, depending on which state you live in and or the county you live in. Some of it can be successful, while others it can't. The CEO, which you're about to hear, has not been able to do it for the past 9 years. As she's going into her final year, that answer could change from a yes to a no. Here's Chris Papps.
July 1st, 2016 was day 1 for Baltimore City Public Schools' new CEO, Dr. Sonia Santelises.
There has to be a collective accountability for our city's young people.
I could not be happier.
9 years later, Dr. Santelises has become the longest tenured school district leader in the Baltimore region, a fact often celebrated by elected officials, including State Senate President Bill Ferguson.
What really matters when you look across the country, stability is what matters.
But has that stability translated into student academic achievement over the 9 years that Dr. Santelises has been CEO? After all, this is what she said in 2016 when she took the job.
We should have a demonstrated track record of growth and progress.
Project Baltimore analyzed student academic achievement metrics throughout Baltimore City schools. We compared data from 2016-2017, Dr. Santelises' first full school year, to 2023-2024, which is the most recent year for which we have data. And we found most of the student achievement metrics have gotten worse over those 8 years, even though the district receives significantly more funding. City schools in 2017 passed a $1.3 billion budget to educate about 82,000 students. By 2024, the district's budget ballooned to $1.7 billion as student enrollment dropped to around 75,000. In other words, the district has received more money to educate fewer students. And here are the results. From 2017 to 2024, overall attendance is down from 87% to 85%. The average SAT score is also down from 910 to 867. Meanwhile, the dropout rate has increased from 15% to 19%, along with chronic absenteeism, which is up from 30% in 2017 to 48% in 2024. The COVID pandemic certainly had an impact on the school system, but most of the metrics were worsening before COVID hit in 2020. Federal test scores show Baltimore City math and reading proficiency rates largely declined more than the national large city average from 2019 to 2024. Perhaps the main metric by which school systems are often evaluated is graduation rates. In 2017, city schools' graduation rate was 70.6%. In 2024, it slightly increased to 70.9%. But it's worth mentioning, in that time, the state changed Maryland high school graduation requirements. In 2017, students had to pass state assessments in subjects such as math and reading. Now, Maryland students must only take state assessments to receive a diploma. They no longer have to pass the assessments.
We really do appreciate your work.
Dr. Santelises declined an interview to discuss what she sees as her greatest accomplishments. Instead, we received this statement. There's a lot Dr. Santelises could point to with pride from her 9 years of service so far as Baltimore City Schools CEO, but she's always said and still believes that there's more work ahead. She remains fully committed to our students, staff, and families, and plans to give her all until the end of her tenure. For her, it wouldn't feel right to start listing accomplishments while the mission continues. Her focus is on finishing strong for the community she cares so deeply about.
At a base salary of more than $369,000 a year, Dr. Santelises, according to state data, is the highest paid K-12 school system leader in our state. But she is now entering the final year of her contract. In a year from now, the school system should have a new CEO. The school board has announced a national search to find Dr. Santelises' replacement. Fox 45 News will keep you posted. I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.
So it's like you're going up and then you're going down. It's about the requirement. It's like, okay, you require to take this till you graduate. But now, years later, it's like, no. We're going to take away the requirements so that everyone can graduate easy. I mean, it's like you're changing the rules. You're making it easier, not harder. It's the system just saying, because of the pandemic, we're going to make things a lot easier. No, we want things to go back to the way we were. I mean, screw the pandemic. We want things to go back to the way we were. I mean, like when you get a GED, you can't just go if you can't graduate high school and you try to get a GED, you can't just be like, I want a GED diploma, and then you get handed to it and you're good to go. You have to take a certain amount of classes and take a test. Once you take that test, you pass, you're good to go. That's it. It's just that simple. A monkey with Down syndrome could even meet that 2017 requirement. A sexual predator from jail could even drag Chris Hansen to take that test. He's already graduated, no offense to the joke, but, But there is more about these 9 years. So coming up, we're going to hear from the CEO as she defends her report declining student absenteeisms. And later on, it's all about fighting It's all about fighting for transparency. Please stay with us. Why have tenure where you just defend your honor? It's like a wife defending her husband saying, "Oh, he punched my stomach while I was pregnant," but he has changed. The CEO that we're talking about was going 9 years. Next year is going to be her last year. She's made over $300,000 because of all the accomplishments. But as we've seen, SAT scores were up while they were low. We all blame the pandemic. But now you're about to hear her defend what was going on after seeing that broadcast. Once again, Chris Pabst.
I'm tired of it.
Blanca Taparascu is not just the mother of a Baltimore City Schools student.
We're not buying it anymore.
She's a former City Schools employee.
Yes.
And
former member of the Parent Teacher Student Association at Mergenthaler High School, who believes city students are not receiving the education they deserve, despite what the district is now saying.
We're not buying the song and dance that we are on an uprise.
I could not be happier.
Project Baltimore on Monday reported that Dr. Sonia Santelises had completed her 9th year as Baltimore City Public Schools CEO. For that report, we compared student achievement data from 2017, Dr. Santelises' first year as CEO, to 2024, and found many metrics, including attendance, SAT scores, dropout rates, chronic absenteeism, and federal test scores, are worse now than when the CEO was first hired. But when we requested an interview with Dr. Santelises to discuss her main accomplishments, she declined. Her staff explained in a statement, it wouldn't feel right to start listing accomplishments while the mission continues.
Parents, teachers, and staff deserve to hear what actually is the truth. It's always going to be an oppositional because they do not want to be interviewed by someone who understands what the real issues are in this school system.
City Schools sent this email to Fox 45 News declining to list Dr. Santelises' accomplishments on Monday afternoon. Shortly after, that same day, we published our report on the topic. But then, hours after that, City Schools took to its website, posting this list of what it calls Dr. Santelises' accomplishments. The post, entitled Project Baltimore Again Amidst Context About Outcomes in City Schools, appears on the district's Setting the Record Straight webpage. In the post, City Schools touts how under Dr. Santelises, English language arts proficiency has increased 5 percentage points since 2022, and math proficiency has increased 1.4 percentage points since 2023. The post also mentions that chronic absenteeism has decreased 5.4 percentage points from last school year. The school system appears to be picking the data it wants to highlight. Project Baltimore's report on Monday compared the district's data from when Dr. Santelises started the job to the most recent data available. The district's post only compares the last few years, not the CEO's entire tenure.
They have failed thousands and tens of thousands of students, and they don't want to admit that.
City Schools also posted this information on social media as an advertisement, which generally means money was placed behind the ad to boost its reach. So Project Baltimore emailed City Schools asking, how much money in total did the district use to promote this information on all social media platforms? The district responded saying it paid $100.
There are no such things as failure as students. They're not failures, but a system can fail a person.
As Dr. Santelises heads into her 10th year as school CEO, do you believe her claims that the school system is improving? We want to hear from you. Call our hotline, send me an email, follow us on social media, head to foxbaltimore.com to follow our progress. I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.
What was the question again?
Dr. Santelises,
it paid $100.
There are no such things as failure as students. They're not failures, but a system can fail a person.
As Dr. Santelises heads into her 10th year as school CEO, do you believe her claims that the school system is improving?
Well, according to what we saw yet, no. It's going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, like a whole roller coaster. Take away the requirements while making it easier for the kids to graduate. I mean, how are they going to learn how to read? You know? How are you going to read money from a cash register? How are you going to learn how to count? You know? I mean, some seniors couldn't correctly add up the cost of a soup, a hamburger, or a soda. Nearly a quarter of all seniors couldn't do 7th grade math. I mean, are we going to take with the requirement to have math and science and make it easier? Okay, just go to school, pass your class, just go to school, you get your diploma. You can't just make the system easy for all the kids. You know? You try to talk to teachers unions about the test scores, and then they'll shut you down and say, hey, you make an argument about test scores, we don't want you talking about test scores. Even if I were to have Alyssa Lamb drag in Nancy Vera to come on the broadcast, I mean, come on, Nancy, we're going to see Jonathan. I don't want to. Like tug of war. Hey, mijo, nice to back you wanted. Why you crying? I was about to tell our Joy come on to pull a fucking bug all the way from the garage. You said huffy, I'm huffy. We're gonna put it together, but right now, I'm feeling good. I drank at work. We're gonna put it together, but tomorrow. But, you're all tampoco. I drank at work. I'm feeling good. Oh God, Alyssa Lamb's gonna kick my ass if she watches this. She's my case manager, and she's a huge fan of the show, and I really don't want to throw her under the bus and jeopardize friendships. Coming up, it's all about judiciary and juvenile. 3 reports and lots of catching up. Stay with us. Major revisions are still needed in order to revise the juvenile laws in the state of Maryland. In the state of Maryland, we have the laws that were there in 2020. Were not there in 2022. But they were revised 2 years later. 3 years later. So what does that tell you? That tells you that the system needs to change. You know, we got to hold juveniles, accountable. But major revisions are needed, and as we're about to show you, more needs to get done. Again, Chris Papps.
January 5th, 2023, MacArthur Middle School, Anne Arundel County. A school resource officer confronts a 12-year-old boy after a loaded handgun, extra magazine, and loose ammunition were discovered in the student's school bag. The weapons were quickly confiscated, but the student faced no criminal consequences.
And they could not charge him.
Scott Schellenberger is the Baltimore County State's attorney.
That means we can't take him to court. And if you can't take him to court, you can't get him the help that the court system is designed to get.
The reason the student at MacArthur Middle was not criminally charged for taking a loaded handgun to school was because of a law passed 1 year earlier.
Senate Bill 691, Juvenile Justice Reform.
The Maryland General Assembly in 2022 passed the Juvenile Justice Reform Bill, which in part raised the minimum age by which juveniles can be charged with certain crimes to age 13. Some of those crimes included certain physical and sexual assaults, along with weapons violations.
But I can tell you right now that we are not going to prosecute our way to a safer community. We just won't.
Proponents of the bill argued that Maryland was criminally overcharging young people.
Because I think it's a critical bill for reforming our juvenile justice system and avoiding recidivism and treating children as they should be.
But after the law passed in 2022, many Maryland leaders felt it went too far. In 2024, the legislature revised the law, allowing children between the ages of 10 and 12 to be charged with certain crimes, including handgun violations and third-degree sex offenses. But juveniles under the age of 13 still cannot be charged with many crimes, and is having an impact.
When your kid goes to school and doesn't feel safe, that's an issue.
Julie Wilson's 12-year-old daughter attends Western Heights Middle School in Washington County. This past school year, Wilson says her daughter was the victim of a 4th-degree sex offense, but the alleged assailant is 12 years old, and the family cannot take legal action. Under the revised juvenile justice reform law, juveniles under 13 cannot be charged with a 4th-degree sexual offense.
That's predatory behavior, and if he just is allowed to do this and nothing happens, what is he going to do when he is older? And it's teaching my daughter that it's just okay. He can do these things to her and there's no consequences.
What do you say to families that are going through a situation where they want to hold someone accountable but they can't?
I say you're going to have to get the law changed so that you can get the kind of justice, help, and relief that you and your family deserve.
In 2024, Schellenberger, along with state's attorneys in Baltimore City, Howard County, and Prince George's County, argued that the 2022 Juvenile Justice Reform Law should be repealed, not amended.
I would have liked it if they had changed everything back.
To this day, Schellenberger still favors a full repeal. And he hopes the Maryland General Assembly will eventually agree, so families like the Wilsons can seek justice, and the alleged assailants can get the counseling and supports they need.
See, the juvenile system is entirely designed to get help for the juveniles and even their families, so that the more minor crimes they commit at the age of, say, 10 through 14 don't turn into major ones when they're 15 or 16 or 17. It's incredibly important, because if I can get the courts to help a 12-year-old, then we might not be seeing them over and over and over again.
I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.
RDFCU. Now there's another report from them talking about these juvenile state judiciary. There's actually two more. So here again is Chris Pabst.
July 11th, 2025.
After months of non-responsive correspondence and unpermitted delays, the judiciary continues to stall, leaving WBFF with little choice but to send this final demand.
On that day, attorneys for Fox 45 News sent this letter to the Maryland judiciary. A letter of last resorts.
The delay in providing a response to Mr. Papp's request is unacceptable.
The story behind this letter starts on January 9th, when Fox 45 News filed this public records request with the Maryland judiciary, seeking to obtain the rulings issued by all juvenile court judges in Baltimore City going back to 2018. Our request was later expanded to include all 24 jurisdictions in Maryland. The results of this public records request will help us better understand who's in school with your children, because we could see if juveniles who commit crimes are incarcerated or released, and which judge issues the ruling. According to the Maryland Judiciary's rules, it has 75 days to fulfill a records request. Our request was filed nearly 200 days ago, and as of today, we have not received any records. That is why Fox 45's attorneys sent this letter to the judiciary explaining, if we do not receive the records by August 7th, we intend to take legal action.
We hope to avoid this unnecessary and costly litigation, but are left with few options in light of the judiciary's continued and unjustified delay.
If it does get to the point where Fox 45 has to sue, we're suing the court system that our lawsuit would go in front of.
Sean Kennedy with the Maryland Public Policy Institute.
Absolutely. I mean, you are actually asking an agency to rule against itself.
When juveniles commit crimes, accountability is often left in the hands of judges. In January, Baltimore City Circuit Court Judge Charles Bloomquist ended probation after just 1 year for a repeat juvenile sex offender. That decision removed the teen from the Juvenile Sex Offender Registry, allowing him to return to school in person. The teen had been learning online. Sources tell Fox 45 News the juvenile does plan to return to in-person learning this fall.
The court is allowing a sex offender to be able to go back to school.
Many, including the mothers of the juvenile's victims, feel if the juvenile sex offender does return to class, the safety of the other students at that school will be placed at risk because of Bloomquist's ruling. According to online records, Bloomquist is one of 4 judges who currently oversees the juvenile division in Baltimore City. August 7th is a little more than 2 weeks away. At that point, it'll be nearly 7 months since Project Baltimore first filed that public records request. Will Fox 45 be forced to sue the Maryland judiciary, just like we sued Baltimore City Public Schools in 2017, over public records? In that case, a city judge ruled that the district willfully and knowingly violated the law by not releasing the documents. We'll keep you posted. I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.
When we come back, more about these state judiciaries, and they provide an answer. That part of the story when we come back. Returning to our story, if you live in the state of Maryland, the law state and want to file a public records request from the school, the law states the school has to do it within 75 days. But for Project Baltimore, they did not get it after 75 days. It was over 100 days. So, lawsuit is beginning to file was filed last month. But did that happen? There's about to be an answer. Once again, here's Chris Pabst.
Should it be this way?
It absolutely should not.
Project Baltimore, 2 weeks ago, first spoke with Jeremy Portnoy, a journalist with OpenTheBooks.com, a nonprofit organization devoted to government transparency.
The government is there to serve us, not the other way around.
At the time, Portnoy told Fox 45 News, when it comes to public records requests, Maryland is one of the hardest states to get information.
We're funding the government with our tax dollars. It's supposed to act in our interests.
But Portnoy says that does not appear to be happening when it comes to this public records request, filed by Project Baltimore with the Maryland judiciary. For months, the state was telling Fox 45 the records we requested were being produced and would be released. But we have now learned that was not true.
Any attempt to cover up something the government doesn't want us to know goes completely against the purpose of government existing in the first place.
Project Baltimore, on January 9th, 2025, filed this public records request with the Maryland judiciary, seeking to obtain the rulings issued by all juvenile court judges in Baltimore City going back to 2018. The request was later expanded to include all 24 jurisdictions in Maryland. We want to know how certain judges rule in juvenile cases, especially involving sex offenders. According to the Maryland judiciary's rules, it has 75 days to fulfill a records request. So in March, we began asking about the status of our request. At first, we were told the judiciary is still processing your request and needs more time. In April, we asked again with a similar response. Your request is still being processed and the judiciary needs more time. In June, the judiciary explained it was developing an appropriate format to produce the requested information, and we received an estimated date of delivery of July 4th. But when that day came, no records were produced. Then, after 183 days of waiting, on July 11th, attorneys for Fox 45 News sent this letter to the Maryland judiciary explaining if the records were not produced by August 7th, we would sue the judiciary. This week, we received this letter
explaining the judiciary closed our request because it requires the creation of new judicial records, and the judiciary is not obligated to create and then produce the records you seek.
Think about that. The judiciary led us to believe the information we requested was being gathered. We were told the records were being produced. But then, shortly after, we threatened to file a lawsuit because the state was in violation of its own rules. Suddenly, we are told the records cannot be produced, and our file is closed.
And that's a big problem. That's why we need much stronger Public Information Act laws in Maryland.
The judiciary explained it is currently building a separate data system that will eventually better assist in responding to requests like Fox 45's. But why were we told that the records were being produced when it appears they were not? We believe taxpayers deserve answers. So we requested an interview with the Chief Justice of the Maryland Supreme Court, Matthew Fader, who heads the Maryland Judiciary. We have not yet heard back.
Do you think the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court should address this issue?
I would think so, right? The public needs to know that they can trust in their judiciary not to hide information from the public.
Many juvenile court judges in Maryland are elected, but based off the judiciary's response to us, no publicly accessible records exist to see how juvenile court judges rule in juvenile cases. How can voters be expected to vote for judges when no information is available about how those judges rule concerning juveniles? That part of the story in the coming days. I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.
And this continues on. 1, 2, 3. This is number 4.
DC politicians want to enact harmful credit card mandates that could take away your...
Now it's all about those lawmakers.
Baltimore's Chris Pabst explains 2 state lawmakers have written the Chief Justice of the Maryland Supreme Court demanding answers.
Dear Chief Justice Fader, we are writing to you out of deep concern regarding recent revelations reported by Fox 45 Project Baltimore.
Maryland State Delegate Lauren Arkan last week sent this letter to the Chief Justice of the Maryland Supreme Court, Matthew Fader,
alleging that the Maryland judiciary misled the public and the press regarding access to public records on juvenile crime. So I'm just looking up...
Arkan, who represents Harford County, is a member of the House Judiciary Committee in Annapolis, and she's been watching Project Baltimore's recent reports on the Maryland Judiciary, which is led by Chief Justice Fader.
This story has reached victims of child sex abuse and other types of abuse in the juvenile system, and the victims that I've spoken to are incredibly disturbed. They feel like they've experienced very similar stonewalling in their own personal cases.
Fox 45's transparency concerns with the Maryland Judiciary began earlier this year. In February, Project Baltimore was escorted out of the Baltimore City Juvenile Justice Center, a public building, for trying to speak with Circuit Court Judge Charles Bloomquist about controversial rulings he had made that some believe jeopardize public safety. So we called the Judiciary's Public Information Officer, Nick Cavey, asking why.
And they escorted me out twice, saying that even though it's a public building, that I'm not allowed inside. Can you explain that for me, please?
Soon after that February incident, Cavey wrote us explaining we do have access to proceedings that are open to the public, but we may not attempt to seek access to Judge Bloomquist, even though he's an elected official.
I think it's really important that anyone in a position of power in the state of Maryland answer to the public.
Later in 2025, we had more issues with the judiciary, this time regarding the release of public documents. In January, we filed this public records request seeking to obtain juvenile court judge rulings. For months, the state was telling us that our request was being processed and the judiciary needs more time. The judiciary even provided a date of July 4th
for when we should expect the records. But then, on July 21st, the judiciary closed our request, explaining it is not obligated to create and then produce the records you seek.
The judiciary did not tell us the whole truth. We were told the records were being produced when it appears they were not.
I think there should for sure be an internal investigation into what happened. Who told who that the documents did exist? And then who made the decision to say, there are no documents, we can't provide you anything and we don't have to.
Joe Mama wrote this letter to Chief Justice Fader, trying to get answers.
Transparency is foundational to public trust in our justice system.
Can you provide an example? Baltimore County delegate Robin Grammer, who is also a member of the Judiciary Committee, co-signed the letter, which asks what steps the Maryland Judiciary is currently taking to provide swift and reliable access to this critical public information.
I think it's a concerning lack of transparency. I mean, these are public records. The public should have access to them.
Last week, to try to get answers, Project Baltimore requested an interview with Chief Justice Fader. Public trust in our court system is of the utmost importance, we wrote, and what Fox 45 has experienced in the last few months is concerning. The judiciary wrote us back saying it is reviewing our request. We'll keep you updated. I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.
Now, the governor addresses the dispute. That part of the story when we come back. Welcome back. The requests keep coming in, and so far they got nothing, and nothing, and nothing, and nothing. They threatened a lawsuit, but nothing happened. It was denied. But lawmakers and the governor are responding. How's this happening? Once again, Chris Pabst.
It's not just Maryland's largest industry.
Project Baltimore came to this event in Baltimore County.
But this is just such an important heartbeat.
To speak with Governor Wes Moore about transparency concerns involving the Maryland judiciary.
They told us we were going to get the records, and then they told us we're not going to get the records. But that's not really how government should work, is it?
Yeah, I believe government should be transparent. I also know that I control the executive branch, and so I don't control the judiciary branch or how they roll out their policies.
Do you find this acceptable?
I am very big into transparency. I also know, at least in the case of that, it's a separate branch of government. I don't control what the judiciary does. We believe in transparency. We think it's important.
We were asking the governor about the results of this public records request that Project Baltimore filed with the Maryland judiciary in January, seeking to obtain court rulings for juveniles who commit serious crimes. These records would better help us understand who's in school with your children, because we could see if juveniles are incarcerated or released, and which judge issued the ruling. For months, the state said, our request was being processed. The judiciary even told us by July 4th, we begin receiving records. But then, on July 21st, the judiciary closed our request, explaining it is not obligated to create and then produce the records.
I think there should for sure be an internal investigation into what happened.
Maryland State Delegate Lauren Arkan, in response to Fox 45's reporting, wrote this letter to the Chief Justice of the Maryland Supreme Court, Matthew Fader, asking what steps the Maryland judiciary is currently taking to provide swift and reliable access to this critical public information. She has not yet heard back.
The victims that I've spoken to are incredibly disturbed. They feel like they've experienced very similar stonewalling in their own personal cases.
To try to get answers concerning this lack of transparency, Project Baltimore requested an interview with Chief Justice Fader. The judiciary wrote back saying it's reviewing our request. But that was last week. So we wrote back saying, we spoke with Governor Moore regarding this issue. He said transparency is important. We hope the Maryland judiciary agrees. and will grant Fox 45 an interview.
Do you think the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court should address this issue?
Well, I have a deep respect for Chief Justice Fader, but I also know the judiciary branch, they have their policies, and I can't intervene in the judiciary branch.
The Maryland judiciary did not officially deny our request until we threatened to sue them earlier this month. Since we still have not received any records, we are considering our options. But remember, in 2017, Fox 45 sued Baltimore City Public Schools over public records. In that case, a city judge ruled that the school system willfully and knowingly violated the law by withholding the documents. We will keep you posted as we continue to try to get records from the Maryland judiciary. I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.
And now here's another one.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Come on, baby.
I know what I'm doing, all right? Smash your machine, rated R, get tickets now.
It'd be like taking the reports hostage. I'm not gonna give you the report, so you tell me your mama joke. Okay. Your mama's so fat when she gets on the elevator, it's going down. Here you go. It's like a little kid. I want my records, I want my records.
As Chris Pabst explains.
But it's been months. You can't mean people. It's like the old saying, like, as kids, we were growing up, like, you can't always get what you want, but this has been going on for years. Fox 45 sued the district. Now they're suing the judiciary people until they get what they want. But in life, you can't always get what you want because the public, look, we pay our taxes, and our tax dollars go to the schools and to the courts and to the government. That's what we pay our taxes for. We pay our taxes. So here's more from Chris Pabst.
Corner of Cedar says they can't fix the problem until they know more about the problem.
This is the corner of Cedar and Montrose.
November 2023. Video from a Ring doorbell captures the moment when 3 juveniles who stole a car in Essex avoid oncoming traffic, pedestrians, and crash into a parked car. They then flee the scene.
This is where a lot of people from the community come to walk their kids, walk their dogs.
This video was recorded just blocks.
They came around the corner here
from where Maryland State Delegate Robin Grammer lives.
They came around the corner doing more than 25 on a quiet street like this. It really is indicative of these crazy situations of juvenile crime that are happening across our state that we really want to get to the root of. And we need the help of the judiciary to get there. They could have killed 3 people. They were standing right here.
Grammer told Fox 45 the juveniles in this video had been previously arrested for stealing cars, but at the time were not incarcerated. Since then, juvenile crime has been one of Grammer's top concerns, which is why he's been closely watching Project Baltimore's recent reporting regarding transparency concerns within the Maryland judiciary.
We continue to have problems with the Maryland juvenile system and the Maryland juvenile courts stonewalling us at every single case, and that's something we need to change.
Project Baltimore, in January, filed a public records request with the Maryland judiciary seeking to obtain information about court rulings for juveniles who commit serious crimes. These records would help us better understand who's in school with your child, because we could see if juveniles are incarcerated or released, and which judge issued the ruling.
You're looking to find if you have a rogue judge. I think that's perfectly reasonable.
For months, the state said our request was being processed. The judiciary even told us by July 4th, we'd begin receiving records. But then, on July 21st, the judiciary closed our request explaining the records could not be assembled, and the judiciary is not obligated to create and then produce the records. In response, on July 24th, Grammer and Delegate Lauren Arkan, who both sit on the House Judiciary Committee in Annapolis, wrote this letter to the Chief Justice of the Maryland Supreme Court, Matthew Feder, expressing deep concern regarding transparency within the judiciary. On August 1st, Grammer received this reply.
My takeaway is that the judiciary really just isn't interested in working with us.
Nick Cavey with the Maryland Judiciary wrote, "It was never the judiciary's intent to mislead the reporter in any way." Cavey explained, "The judiciary does not maintain the information as it was requested, and the judiciary went above and beyond to see if the information could be pulled from electronic records. But it could not."
I would say intentions are irrelevant. We need to get beyond talking about intent here. We need an immediate solution so we can act boldly going forward.
To address future public records concerns, the judiciary explained that it plans to create and utilize a data warehouse to build a modern centralized system to enhance data transparency. But KV did not say when that data warehouse will be available to the public.
It's a good start. It's a good response on paper. It's something. But they need to come in front of lawmakers. They need to come in front of the Judiciary Committee and put this all to rest.
What the judiciary's response does not explain is why it took nearly 200 days before Fox 45's request was denied, and if the head of the judiciary, Chief Justice Feder, finds what happened acceptable. Project Baltimore requested an interview with Feder, but he respectfully declined.
I think he should talk to the media and the public, and it gives people confidence. Will he take flack as a leader? Probably, but it happens in other states, and we've got to do away with this notion that judges can't talk publicly about anything.
If you would like to read the judiciary's entire statement to the lawmakers, we have posted it on our website, foxbaltimore.com. Just click on this story. I'm Chris Patch, and this is Project Baltimore.
Wow. There is something going on here, you know. We want to be concerned about student safety. We want keeping... Let's go back to this. Going back to... Look at this.
Pedestrians and crash into a parked car. They then flee the scene.
Those kids should be in school. What are they doing? Getting in a car and breaking the law. Here in Texas, back in 2003, you do something like that, you're going to end up being in handcuffs, doing community service, in handcuffs, juvenile detention, house arrest, ankle monitoring from home to school, making sure you don't commit those crimes. Back when Judge James Metz was a truancy judge, he had the power to send a child to jail for not going to school. Montgomery County Precinct 4, Judge James Metz send kids to prison for not going to school before the 2015 law was put into place. Take a look at these two clips.
YouTube TV may drop your favorite sports. No more football or NBA. Plus no NASCAR or Golf Channel. YouTube TV customers, act now to keep watching your favorite sports. Go to getyourchannels.com now.
Since how old are you? 15? Since you can't seem to go to school for whatever reason, you haven't provided one here today that's legitimate. You have to go to school if you want. And if you don't go, we'll put you in jail. That's not an option. not now, with the accident, unfortunately. Like I said, the one lady that was in here, she's probably gonna lose her job because her kid won't go to school. Or after that, possibly lose her home or automobile. CPS is gonna probably come take her kids away from her because they can't live out on the street. But that's how serious I am about education. It's not an issue, man. He seems to be well kept and like you're trying hard to. So, we'll see how you like living somewhere else when he's in jail and you don't have a place to lay your head at night. You're going to school. You're either going to school in Precinct 4, Montgomery County, you're going to move somewhere else to keep from going, and maybe they'll be a little easier on you, or they're going to start putting you in jail. That's how serious I am about kids being in school. The law allows me to do that. I just got re-elected 4 more years. That's the way it is. All you have to do is go to school. Nobody in here, there may be 1 or 2 out of all the people that are here today that maybe you do have legitimate reasons for your kids not being in school. If you do, we're going to look at those and make sure that you get credit for it. But the rest of it, you didn't have to be here. All you have to do is get up and go to school. I did it, and I'm not any smarter than any of you. I'll just work on it. If you go to school, you won't have any problems out of it. You won't have to pay these tough fines and putting on you. You won't have to have your mom go up there and babysit you. You go to school, you don't have to worry about your parents going to jail and losing their jobs from having to go to school. That's just pretty much it. Just get up and go to school. I know you're not me. I was 14 years old. I was going to school and working after school and on Saturday. I wasn't perfect either, folks. I got in a little trouble when I was in high school. My dad said, you got yourself into it, figure out how to get yourself out. And they can come get you. I'm not paying your fines. I'm not doing it. And he did it. And I decided that wasn't what I wanted to do. Not this coming Monday, but next Monday. If they're not there, send their information up here. We're going to get their district like today.
Here's another clip. Well, we're going to short.
Failed to attend court today. It's we have that twice a month here. There are about 15,000 students in the 3 school districts that are in my jurisdiction. And for the most part, 14,500 or so go to school every day and act as appropriately as they should. There's a small number and a small percentage that are here in court today that they missed school. They missed more days than was allowed. They were cited. They came to court. Some today were for the first-time offenders. They received a $92 fine, which cost the court when put orders to school. The others were here for show cause hearings. They had been here previously. They were put orders to school, and they still refused to do it. For whatever reason, they refused. They did have not excuses for absences. They were let go. The ones that did not have legitimate reasons for missing school were sent to jail if they were 17. Some of them, parents were ordered to go to school with them to make sure that they got up and went to school and they were in the classes and behaved themselves while they were there.
What's the sole charge of full offense from all today?
Unfortunately, that one lady presented false doctor's notes that had been altered, and that is a third-degree felony for presenting those types of documents in an official proceeding.
What about, your thing is not really wanting to put these kids in jail, you rather put them in school.
Absolutely not. Jail is the last thing we want for them, but some of them, that's the only thing they seem to understand. When we put them in jail, we have to feed them, take care of them while they're in custody. It costs about $60 a day. Certainly not one of them simply get up and go to school. I did it, most others did it, and the 14,500, 600 kids are doing it as well. The other 3 members should be able to do it also. We also have kids here today that presented their diploma. They received applause from the entire courtroom, including me, for their success here today. That's the goal we're looking for, to get their diploma. and move on about their life. Hopefully have a happy and productive life.
We had a couple of kids come in, one or two that missed several days, but they were like right up where to get into the diploma. After a case like that, so just throw the book out and just give them a chance there.
Some of them were like a credit away or a half a credit. They were in line to graduate at the end of May, which is just here shortly. So I set them a court date of June 15th to provide them with a diploma. And if they do so, case is dismissed, they have their diploma, and they go about their life and hopefully have a successful and happy life and be an asset to the community and our liability.
Well, somebody's financing. You can file for $500 a day. The parent is responsible for it, or the child is responsible.
Usually the parent is responsible for that up to 17 years old. 17-year-old student is responsible for those fines.
It's, I mean, it kind of plays in mom and dad can take care of it, or some percent, or how do you do that?
Sometimes they have that attitude. Sometimes we have parents to report for help from them. Some children threaten to use CPS to get their parents. Section 9.61 penal code says that the parent does have a right to discipline that child and promote their welfare. We present that to them as parents in here and announce that to them. They shouldn't be terrified of CPS. They shouldn't harm their children or do bodily injury to them, but they do have a right to discipline them while they're in their house until they're 18 years old. I thought it was very successful. I certainly enjoyed the students that presented their diplomas. They graduated, some early, others have struggled a little bit, but they still were successful in presenting the diploma. And the entire program will probably get a better version. We will certainly please that's a goal we're looking for, and I'm glad for all those young folks that they've accomplished that goal. They may lose that piece of paper, someone may steal it from them, but nobody can take that accomplishment away from them. They will always have that as long as they live. No matter what happens to them or where they go, they made that accomplishment. And
it's kind of hard for me to feel sorry for you or try to work with you and do things when you're basically long and short, you're smoking dope, you're doing illegal drugs, and you make your mom look bad too. What are you gonna do about that? You're gonna do better and all that stuff, aren't you? And you're gonna do better for how many years? Take up all kinds of space on our computer screen. You've been here so many times, you're gonna do better so many times. You work, man? I hate it for you. Now he can't act right, he can't go to school, and I understand he's got all this stuff over it, but simply because he's doing drugs. Now you're gonna go to school with him, babysit him every day, I'm gonna put you in jail. And when you get 17 years old, I'm gonna put you in jail every time you come up here. You can count on it. You can't seem to get it right. You're not going to make a mockery of me or take advantage of me or your mom or anybody else on the school up there and waste their time anymore. You better be in school with him tomorrow morning or you're going to jail. It's just that simple. It's a court order. And until I say different for the rest of the school year, and you may have to go some next year, I'll make that decision. You better be there. You better be there.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, when he has therapy appointments, can he still be excused?
You bring me a note from that doctor, if he went to the doctor, that will be excused by me.
So basically, you get the picture here. You don't go to school, you go to jail for 3 days. $60 a day. We're gonna take a break and we're gonna take a break, we're right back. Now on tonight's follow break, it's gonna be a question for you. What do you do if your parents are fighting? We're gonna give you some tips.
If your parents are fighting, here's 5 ways to feel safer. First, go to a space where you feel safe. It might be a room, a closet, or even a quiet corner. You should always remember, your parents fighting is not your fault. Next, do something that helps you focus on something else. Draw a picture, play games, or build something. Your brain needs breaks from the noise, and that's okay. After that, try calling a friend to help remind you you're not alone. Sometimes just talking about it can help you feel a little better. Now close your eyes and imagine a place that feels peaceful. Add colors, sounds, small details. This is called guided imagery, and it's a strategy even professional athletes use to stay calm.
Seriously?
Hey, sometimes real life sneaks in, but it's okay. You got if you're
It's what can happen. So if you follow those steps, you too can have a good life without mom and dad fighting. Coming up on Friday, we're wrapping up Baltimore week. We're wrapping up our catch-up week. As we continue to catch up with some Project Baltimore stories we've missed while I was taking a break from Season 8. Going into Season 9. As we continue Season 9. So, that's all for this Decision Game Break Thursday going to Friday. We'll see you again for Give Me a Break Friday. Follow us here at YouTube. Stop bullying, speak up. Concentration, not strength. No jaywalking. As always, take care of yourself and each other. Now and always, I'm here for you. And autism is not a disability. It's your superpower. Good night.